That's great. Who? She just, I thought you were looking for you, actually.
Oh, yeah, she was. Yeah.
I thought Tony was where. Did you see it in the paper?
Yeah. On that meter.
Yeah.
I read it after you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Question. What's the resolution? That's the one on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. I have no idea.
What I need for it.
Pick on people.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
pick on people.
Yeah,
Talk over
in case I
time.
need to, if I see a hand go
If you
up.
see him come up.
Good, thank you. And right now, this is showing on you. So if I'm a
Oh,
co-host.
I'll turn my.
No, I'm gonna spotlight this for everybody, right? Don't you think? No, seriously, if I spotlight us for everybody, then
Yes, absolutely.
it should be controlled. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Sounds good.
Oh, man, look at that picture.
That's us.
That's you.
Look, I'm a hill of muffin.
Oh, no, you look great.
I wish I could do that one.
A little spittle.
My beard.
I'll cut a little bit. I'm gonna play like and so Sosowski on the net meeting. Since he's here. Doesn't matter. I thought Tony Pappas did a nice job.
Who?
Tony Pappas, he wrote a letter to the paper and just thanked everybody.
For what?
Net metering.
Oh,
No, so I think he did know about net metering, didn't he?
yeah, oh, yeah.
Like-
no, it's- it's not-
Oh, no.
Tonight, this was when he. Yeah, it was I did.
No,
That was when he brought it us.
yes.
I told him we had meetings, I could get here.
We get some wind. Noise. So we get this letter from Ryan.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't read any.
With 2,000 very formal questions about. I don't think it's a bad thing, but, you know, I mean,
Is this the letter?
no.
No.
And,
I think we're supposed to, we're gonna tell them what our position is.
right, but if they actually responding to that, may give us an opportunity to sort of
Make our
expand
points.
on our view of fear.
Oh, Lord, this is gonna.
Oh, no, Martha's not.
That thing from Ryan. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not paying attention to it.
No, 'cause this goes back to,
Okay, y'all are live on YouTube.
Like, thank you. Okay, Molly, are you ready?
Yes, thank you.
Molly,
I'm ready.
Molly,
Thank
are
you.
you ready?
Can you not hear me?
Um,
Ben,
Marion,
can you hear me?
she was there a minute ago.
Marion, can you just make sure that we're still recording or that we're ready? I just want to make sure we're ready to go. Sorry, sorry, I apologize.
So is that different than the discussion that the PAC and Salt Pond are going to the years?
You're on? No, it's not. But I could hear it before. Okay, let's go.
When I saw it, I wasn't sure like.
Should we do it? Should we do this?
Yes. Let me do that.
Can you hear me?
And text me if you need.
Okay. so
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that if we have callers that call in.
Yep.
we can hear them as well.
Yep. So first of all, thank you all for coming. It is a great moment that people are in the room, which is a huge thing. So thank you all. Marianne is not here, but thank the town clerk and everybody for their help in getting it. We'll continue the open session in a minute. Unfortunately, Andre Boudreau could not be here tonight, so he will not be here. Marianne, we just thank you for allowing everybody, or for getting everybody to be here in the room, and for all of us being able to coordinate. Just so you all know, that little camera there, here, right in front of us, right here, is showing the council. If you do want to get up and speak, you can use that microphone and it should work, but also just project and you'll be able to hear it in the speakers, and it should work in Zoom. This is the first time that we've had a large group, so we may need to get over some bumps, but we'll make that all work. Just before we get going here, I just want to make sure that Molly is good. And I'll tell you, this is going to be a great forum as it all works, because I can see that there are right now about 13 people that have called in. And as we think about future meetings, it's going to be a really nice thing to have it in person, have the dialogue, and then also have people be able to call in.
So this will be a test. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Excellent.
Okay, so that means everybody has to be quiet. I like that. Okay, so we're going to continue the open session. Just to make sure for the record, as everybody knows, public access will be via Zoom pursuant to the State of Rhode Island Executive Order 20-46 dated June 12th, 2020, and people are here in person. Before I talk about the closed session a minute ago, I did want to thank, while he's here, Blake Filippi and Susan Sosnowski and the May 4th group and a number of other folks who helped pass the net metering bill, which is, we think, a big step in the right direction for Block Island and will allow more solar, etc. And so Blake, since you're here, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Okay, as you may all know, we were in closed session and it was announced regarding Finnemore and Fisher as well as Champlin's Realty. I do want to make an announcement that one vote was taken, and to be very clear, this is an effort of the town council to not, hold things off, because we want to be very transparent and open. We're going to now repeat that vote in the open session by rule. And so one vote, let me just make sure here. One vote was taken regarding Finnemore and Fisher et al., Town of New Shoreham et al., WC 2021-0063. The item was held in closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-582. And I'm going to repeat that vote. In the case of the Finnemore and Fisher Incorporated et al., Town of New Shoreham et al., WC 2021-0063, the town gives assent to the trust determination that the preliminary injunction should be appealed. So that's the motion on the floor.
Second.
Seconded by Mark in this case, and any discussion? Okay, Martha, how do you vote on that?
Aye.
Keith, how do you vote on that?
Yes.
Can you turn your microphone on and say yes, Ken? Thank you.
Yes.
Mark? And I vote in the affirmative as well. Given Andre Boudreau is not here, that's a 4-0 or unanimous decision. And Andre is not in attendance. Okay, so that is the announcement from the closed session. Now, the open session, the town council will hold a community forum or continue to hold a community forum to gather citizen comments about the Block Island Airport, Rhode Island General Airports, as well as the Rhode Island Airport Corporation's request for proposals regarding Block Island Airport property development. For those of you who could, written comments submitted before the meeting are encouraged. To repeat what we said at the last meeting, Molly is collecting all of the letters. They will go into quote unquote, a letter that the council will be issuing to RIAC. And the concept of that letter is really providing RIAC direct feedback from all the public comments and a summation from the town council, in essence, informing them of the council's point of view and direction regarding a number of issues. And we're going to continue to talk about them. What's nice about this, I think the focus is on the potential development of some parcels. I think you all are aware of those. And I hope we'll also talk about parking and any of the other issues that may affect it. So with that, anybody on the council want to say anything regarding RIAC before we get a public input, or would you like to wait? Just making it open.
Thank you. The only thing, just before we get going here, we received a letter from RIAC. Does someone want to speak to this at 4:01 this afternoon? I think it's a little late.
I have not seen it.
And you haven't even seen it. They're asking for our position on a number of issues. I just don't think we can deal with that this evening, given that we just got it.
And I think my hope would be that as we look at that letter from RIAC and we write our point of view, which incorporates all the feedback, that we'll address all those questions. So I look at that letter as almost a checklist for what to tell RIAC or what they're most interested in.
Given the amount of public interest in this, I think it might be worthwhile to put that letter up on Clerkbase so that people can see it and read it tomorrow morning.
Okay, and the town manager, Marion Crawford, has just quote unquote agreed to that, or is saying yes. Now, what I think we should do just to reduce feedback is when we're done talking, turn your microphones off, because I just heard feedback from Keith's. Okay, so we'll open this up to the public. For those of you who are on Zoom, let me just make sure here that everybody is very clear. Since we don't have the bandwidth to support a video link for members of the general public, to participate, raise your hand on your phone by pressing *9. So let me repeat that. On Zoom, when you're calling in from a phone, please use *9 to raise your hand. Once I see that, and Molly is also going to be monitoring, Millie's also going to be monitoring. Once I see your hand, then I will call on you to mute and unmute, press *6. So to repeat, *9 to raise your hand, *6 to mute and unmute. And please give me a little bit of leeway because I'm doing the best of managing the hand raising. Alrighty, there are folks here in the audience. The goal, just to be very clear here, the goal of this is to hear your input. I'm going to do everything we can to manage that we don't get into tit for tat. This is not about he said, she said. This is about what are you, the public, most interested in, and how do we reflect that as a council? So with that, does anybody in the public have anything they'd like to say? The Block Island Conservancy head, Dory, is here. And and Dory, we're going to double check that microphone is working, but it should be good. There's a switch on the top. The button that says. So.
Is that on? Can you hear me?
No, we cannot hear Dory.
How about now?
No.
Not through the microphone. We can sort of hear you as backwashing. Nothing yet.
Can you try it again now?
Hi there, my name is Dory Napoleone. Can you hear that?
Very faintly.
No, wait a second. Hold on one second.
Is the volume not turned up?
Do we need, Keith, do you, like,
It's good on here. What is that? Does that do anything? How about now?
no.
No.
Here's that.
Well, how about this, Dory, and if anybody doesn't mind, Molly, we're gonna have them, whoa,
No.
That was my fault.
okay? We're gonna have them, speak from another microphone. Millie, what do you think?
Yeah, it looks like they're on. I'm not sure.
I can hear it through the speaker, though. How about if you get closer to it?
I'm pretty close now. What do you think?
That's good.
Is that good?
That's better. Can you really zero in on it?
Pretend you're singing. Okay, Dory,
Okay, we'll give this a whirl.
Little
My
closer,
name is
please.
Tony. I'm the current president of the Block Island Conservancy. And we submitted a letter to you folks last week. And I'm just gonna reiterate a little bit of, what we talked about. In general, Block Island Conservancy opposes the, use of lots,
Much
as
better.
referred to by RIAC BID 1 and 3 for their proposed uses. These two lots were once part of the Nathan Mott Park, which is, as everybody here knows, our first conservation area protected by Lucretia Mott Ball for the use, enjoyment, benefit of the residents of Block Island and visitors. So a decade later, the state of Rhode Island condemned this land to build the airport. In a case of eminent domain, the taking of private land for public use. The Block Island Conservancy later assumed ownership of that property, the remaining part of the property, and today named a network of trails there. We oppose the use in particular of Lot 1 by a private company because the land was condemned for public use and benefit, not for private gain. The prospectus shared by RIAC states that this lot is suitable for non-aviation uses such as outdoor storage, office space, maybe green energy initiatives, and the board of BIC does not see how any of these private commercial enterprises would benefit the public. We also oppose the use of Lot 3, as this area is documented to be the last remaining self-sustaining population east of the Mississippi of the federally threatened American burying beetle. Try saying that fast 3 times. Lot 3 also holds the largest Rhode Island stand of the state endangered northern blazing star. Development of this area for custom aviation uses such as hangar space, aircraft service centers, sales centers, to name a few, would prevent the American burying beetle from using this area and would certainly destroy the stand of the northern blazing star. So kind of in conclusion, to reiterate our point, the Block Island Board requests that Town Council formally oppose RIAC's proposal to develop this land that was gifted for the first public nature preserve on Block Island. Not only do we oppose commercial use of this special public space taken by eminent domain, but we urge that the land be returned to the oversight of the Block Island conservation organizations.
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dory. Any other public comment of anybody in the room? And I am also looking on the phone. I see there's one person with a raised hand, but well, let's go. Molly and Millie, phone number 1703 or 703-82, 703, anyway, yes. Okay, has to unmute more, so I can, if you can, oh, whoops. If you can, excuse me 1 second here, has to unmute. Okay, can you hear us? 703-282-7853.
Yes, good evening, everyone. It's Peter Reichly, owner and president of Flight Level Aviation. Not a productive contribution here. I just wanted to issue an apology for the meeting that happened last week. I referred to sort of everyone attending in the audience as the Peanut Gallery. Just a little context, I attend about 6 airport commission meetings a month, and sometimes I'm on the agenda and at the table. Other times I'm in the audience and I'm called upon in the audience, and the audience is often referred to as the Peanut Gallery. So I meant absolutely nothing derogatory about it. I have the utmost respect for all the general public and all the taxpayers and the good people of Block Island and New Shoreham County. So I just wanted to issue that apology because I understand it offended some people, and I won't use it anymore. And that is all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eichley. Appreciate it, and duly noted. Any other public input? If you could actually, when you get up, I should have had Dory do this. Can you please state your name for the recording? Thank you.
It's Mary Stover. I'm a resident of Block Island. And I live in place.
Paul.
And I'm not tall anymore.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, honey.
She had an
Honey.
Some of my points were in the Conservancy area, but I will not do that since she did that thorough job.
If you can speak really close to the microphone, yeah.
I would like to point out 2 things that maybe have not been taken into consideration as yet. This project that has been proposed by RIAC will transform the airport into an industrial park in a residential zone and conservation area, which has just been discussed. This will be a commercial storage business district without any municipal utilities available. There is no public water, no public sewer, or any authority to oversight this, making this a perfect environment for illegal activity that wants no oversight. Illegal drug transportation and storage is in mind. And in a small community with a tiny police force, the seasonal use, this would be, I think, devastating. The second point, proposal for contractor / other storage was in a recent flyer, and I do have a picture of that, which I sent to the town council, does invite derelict use. The failure of oversight in the current parking lot with the derelict vehicles and such kind of goes to that theme of no oversight. There is no administration of what is currently done there. I can't imagine that having storage buildings would not encourage more dereliction. It would become a dump site, and then who is in charge of cleaning that up? Would be the citizens of Block Island. So my proposal is that you have a resolution saying that no development should be done on the RIAC Airport building in parcels 3 and parcels 1 because of the points I just gave you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment? I see one person on the line, but anybody here in the room at this point? Henry Dupont, if you can get up, please, and state your name. And again,
Hi, good evening. I'm Henry Dupont, Block Island resident, and the chair of the Block Island State Airport stakeholders group. And just to respond to some of the questions that the public have been asking about this, and one is the whole purpose of RIAC wanting to engage Cushman and Wakefield to have airport properties for commercial use, and 2 of the lots are advertised for non-aviation use. And sadly, the Block Island State Airport is one of the only airports in the state that doesn't have the full suite of aviation services that are being offered by each and every one of the other state airports. And that includes fuel service, it includes hangar storage, it includes a number of other amenities that all the other airports have, like Wi-Fi, a pilot briefing and weather room, and a number of other things, such as a battery cart to start a plane which has a dead battery. You have to go out with a pickup truck and do it. Each of the other airports have a facility that can do that. So if RIAC wants to raise revenue from the outlying airports, instead of doing non-aviation related activities like office park or storage or whatnot, they should first concentrate on providing the services that are missing at the Block Island State Airport. And those at the other airports generate a great deal of revenue. Fuel service provides tens of thousands of dollars a year and will pay for itself in just a few years. Hangar storage, I mean, the people out here would love to put their plane in a hangar, especially in inclement weather. And all of these things are entirely possible, and RIAC wants to spend the money in making our airport a better airport. That's the direction to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Henry. I appreciate it. By the way, if anybody has any questions, obviously you'll all jump in, I assume. So sorry, I didn't say that. Okay, we'll go to the Zoom. And Jake Kramer, you were next on raising your hand. Talking is permitted. If you could please state your name, that would be great. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can. Technology at its finest, so don't sneeze. Yeah.
Outstanding. Thank you very much. My name is Jake Kramer. My family has a home on the island, and I do greatly appreciate the opportunity to have spoken last week. I will be respectful of everyone's time and won't repeat my previous comments. I did want to share some additional thoughts. Some have suggested that the characterization of the proposed development as an industrial park is inaccurate. I'm not really sure what term RIAC would prefer, but the uses have been stated, and just to select a few, and this is coming directly out of the actual Cushman and Wakefield document: aviation technology, charter operators, outdoor storage, office space, hangars, bulk hangars, corporate aviation hangars, aircraft interiors operations, aircraft sales centers, and aircraft services centers. So regardless of what term anyone wants to use, those are the uses that were explicitly suggested by that advertisement. The fundamental issue with RIAC, and they exhibited this a little bit on the last call, is that they don't behave as respectful members of a community, regardless of their public relations statements to the contrary. They view the surrounding community as impediments to the advancement of their plans. And frankly, the only time I've heard people speak in favor of RIAC is when they have some financial interest at stake. Anyone in the community who dares question them is labeled as an unreasonable busybody who wants the airport shut down. And nobody in the community has ever suggested that the airport should be shut down. And it's actually RIAC that brings up shutting down the airport when they're looking to overpower valid community concerns. Those who've taken issue with RIAC have done so in response to developments at the airport that have had a very real negative effect on the surrounding community. And that's increased traffic and noise, and especially the helicopters and turboprops, the proposed parking fees, obviously, and now this proposed commercial development on open land. And RIAC has been consistently dismissive of those very valid concerns. And I would also like to point out that they selectively hide behind the FAA when it suits their purpose. So requests from the town and residents are often met with, well, the FAA doesn't want it or won't pay for it, while anything on RIAC's agenda seems to move forward just fine with or without the FAA. And again, they like to try to conceal it when they're discussing our airport, but RIAC remains a very well-capitalized agency with tremendous resources at its disposal. If they're unwilling to work in good faith to address the very valid concerns of the community, then they aren't the right agency to operate the airport. They're repeated lack of regard for the concerns and rights of residents is simply unacceptable. And let's be clear, addressing concerns doesn't mean holding a public comment session so that they can check that box. It means coming to the table in a real way, adopting a cooperative attitude, and really recognizing the rights of residents. And let's remember, RIAC and the airport are supposed to serve us, not the other way around. And I again thank everyone for their time and consideration, and certainly do appreciate the amount of time and effort that the town council is devoting to this topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate that, Mr. Kramer. I do ask everybody speaking to try and make it to the point of how we can better learn and listen rather than any sort of tit for tat comments. I thought Mr. Kramer handled it very nicely, so that's fine. I'm going to keep going to Zoom for a minute. 484-361-1499. 484-363-1499. If you could please announce your name and let us know your thoughts.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name's Adrian Chachi. My family owns a property on Center Road right below the Kramers. And I'd like to thank everybody for the time, especially the town council. Merely wanted to join to echo Mr. Kramer's sentiments. We have concern with a heavier use that may be utilized on the other side of Center Road, the west side of Center Road. We have a small family that utilizes the property, but we have young children and very concerned about the noise being closer to us, and also the heavier uses that would bring the traffic to right at our doorstep. With young children, that is very concerning to us. And simply would like to thank everybody, and that's all I have.
Thank you very, very much, Adrian. We appreciate that, and thank you. Any other comments here in the room before I keep going to Zoom? Just looking at hands. Thank you. Rick Villa, you are on the phone and Zoom. Can you hear me?
I certainly can.
And now we can hear you well.
All right. I'll keep this very short, but I just want to reiterate one point that I have made in the past two sessions, is that when the airport accepts federal money for airport purposes, they are not allowed to use that property for non-aviation purposes. And bid one on the west side of Center Road, adjacent to Nathan Mott Park, in addition to the concerns raised by the conservancy groups, which are certainly valid, just as a non-starter, simply because that is still under that issue without a waiver. And so that's a non-starter. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Villa. I appreciate it. Any other comments? I don't see any hands raised on Zoom. Any comments here in the room? Okay, hearing none for the moment. Councilors, any comments from you? I know, Keith, you were pausing before and thinking.
I mean, I think we've heard that there's virtual unanimity in the community about this offering. And I think we should proceed to working on the resolution.
That's loud. There are a few people that just raised their hands. So Mark, you can go ahead if you want to jump in.
I agree so far with Keith.
Yep.
Well, I just have the questions I had last time. What is the status of this Cushman & Wakefield offering? I'm not going to read my 1976 letter again. The clerk does have a copy of that. We've had reference to a memorandum of understanding between, and I'm not sure the parties, is it RIAC and TNC, RIAC and BIC? Does anybody know what that is, where that is, how we can access that? Dory, do you have any idea?
The only thing I'm aware of is an agreement between RIAC and TNC for the mowing of lot 3, that they only mow it once a year during a certain period of time because of the plant, the blazing star there.
Okay, well, that's the lot that I'm talking about,
Yeah,
lot
okay.
3. Well, that then acknowledges the blazing star. That's what I'm concerned about. That isn't something that's recorded here in Town Hall. You don't know?
I don't know that. I don't.
Okay.
I'm happy to follow up with TNC on that and see if I can get some information about that.
Yeah, I think if you could, that would be good, because I think we just need people reference things and we don't actually have the documents.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to have that hard information at hand. And I think that's the only thing I have. Again, we did get this letter from, we're gonna have to have another meeting to address that letter, which outlines a number of questions, and among them, do we want anything done with these pieces of property?
Yep. Good?
I'm good.
Good,
now.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So any other questions, any other comments? There are a few online, okay? Next person in Zoom, John Goodman, you are allowed to talk, and you may even want to address Martha's question about the Cushman and Wakefield and what is the status. But if you'd like to go ahead, John, we appreciate it.
Sure. Well, am I coming through clear? Are you reading me here?
Yep, we can hear you. If you can speak up a little bit, I think it would help all of us. I know it may sound like you're shouting into the phone, but thank you.
Absolutely. I just want to again thank the New Shoreham Town Council for acknowledging receipt of our letter for the record. Those who haven't seen the letter at this point will, I think, be pleased that we are soliciting the input of the Town Council. As the extensive public record proves, going back years, we have been listening to the town regarding their request that we consider opportunities for paid parking, airport storage, the availability of public water, and other airport amenities. You have thus far tonight, you've heard from an aircraft owner who wants considerably more airport activity and an expansion of a aircraft ramp for more parking that will without doubt bring more aircraft activity to Block Island State Airport. And you've heard from litigants and other neighbors opposed to airport activities. So we recognize the difficult position that the town council is in, and also recognize that the current town council may not continue to support the programs and projects that past town councils have recommended that RIAC look into. So of course, what we need to do here is focus on the facts and not focus on rumors and innuendo regarding industrial parks or other matters. The request for proposal that is on our website from Hayes and Sherry is simply that. It is a request for proposals. That seems to be taken out of context to say RIAC has a proposal. This is RIAC soliciting proposals that are consistent with the requests of previous town councils. So again, I don't want to belabor the point, but we are very eager to get the feedback from the current town council to gain clarity on what the community would like. Many of these projects are intended to benefit the entire community, not just aircraft owners. And that feedback would be very helpful. So we look forward to hearing more. And we continue to look for, we have requested dates from the town manager and the town council since the June 2nd meeting. And so we are more than happy to come out and sit at a table with the interested parties. Again, I think we all have some common ground here, and I think we can focus on what the common ground is, but just appreciate the opportunity to be involved in these discussions as was requested at the June 2nd meeting. So thank you again for the opportunity.
And thank you, Mr. Goodman. Before you go, and we do look forward to you and some of the other folks from RIAC coming out and meeting with the town council, we will issue that point, and whether it's a resolution or documents, and get back to you. Just one question, Martha did ask, what's the status of the Cushman and Wakefield document, I guess I'll call it, or the whole proposal? And if you could just give us a 20-second what's going on, that would help. And then there may be another question.
Certainly. Well, as I mentioned, that is a request for proposal, and that is not just, we have requests for proposals throughout the statewide general aviation airport system. There are other communities that have other projects that they have asked RIAC to look closely at. And in those cases, we issue a similar request for proposals from others to see what development opportunities there may be. Now, in any of those cases, we would work closely with the town to find proposals that are of interest to the town, that would benefit the community as well. So the status is simply that a request for proposals has been issued, and at the appropriate time, we will certainly have discussions with town council members, if there are proposals submitted. But to say that RIAC is developing an industrial park or has a proposal for industrial park is factually incorrect. We have a request for proposals that reflect the expressed desires of previous town councils for issues like storage, access to public water, a paid parking solution. Again, RIAC is currently taking care of the issues with any abandoned vehicles. That question had come up as well. But the town council members have expressed a desire for managed parking programs. And if that is still the case, we look forward to having more discussions in that regard. And if there is no longer desire by the town council for those initiatives to be considered, we will certainly respect that opinion.
Yep, thank you very much. I know, go ahead, Martha.
I feel like I'm always saying this. My question is really, really simple. Have you gotten responses to this offering?
I would actually, I believe my Mr. Shattle, who I am sitting here with, our senior vice president, is able to address that question. He has his hand raised right now.
Is he sitting next to you that he can just jump on, or do I need to depart you and go to Mr. Shattle?
Yeah, if you can just patch him in, we're on headphones so that we don't have any feedback as well.
Okay, and I do want to make sure that as we go there, that we sort of stay on task, that the goal here is not to ask questions and get feedback from you, but rather just keep getting input from people. So I just want to be very, very clear. Martha had a very specific question, so I just do want to keep it to that specific question. Mr. Shattle, if you can help answer Martha's question, that would be of interest to the community.
Great. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, great. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to answer that question. And again, specifically to that, RIAC does not have any proposals under consideration or any recommendations that have come through from Hayes and Cherry related to Block Island. As John was referencing, this is a notice of availability of lease parcels. However, there are none that are specifically have been presented to us for specific consideration from Hayes and Cherry or are currently under consideration.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shattle. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. As a general statement, any other comments from council members? Keith, Mark, sorry, Mark.
No, your ground rules just prevented me from asking my question.
Oh, well, because I think if we get back into a quick answer, yeah, I just don't think that's the objective here, because we're going to definitely have our meeting with RIAC. We're going to do that. Sorry about that. Keith.
I just wanted to respond to something that Mr. Goodman said in his initial part of his discussion, where there seems to be this desire to say that there are people on both sides of this issue. And I, for the record, haven't heard that. In fact, I think the consensus has been remarkable. Even from the abutters, we have not had people jumping up and down saying, we don't want the airport, yada, yada, yada. The objections have been quite focused on conservation lands and on appropriate uses and on consistency with the town's zoning ordinance. So there has not been that kind of NIMBY that I think agencies often fall back on when they're saying, oh gosh, we can't satisfy anybody. Actually, I think the path to satisfaction is quite clear. And I think there's remarkable consensus in the community about what that path is. So thank you.
Sorry, I did forget.
Thank you. Thank you very
I
much.
forgot something.
Oh, Martha, go ahead, because I then want to say something and I don't see any other hands raised unless they pop up. Go ahead, Martha.
I'm sorry, I forgot, I had a follow-up to the, again, this was something we asked at the last meeting. I've already forgotten it. Oh, okay. That RIAC has stated that they're not doing anything in opposition or anything contrary to town zoning. And we've heard this, but I don't believe we have that in writing. And I think we feel a lot more comfortable if we had that in writing, just generally speaking, not specific to any plan or proposal, but just broad brush.
Perfect. So we can definitely put that in the document as we reach back out to RIAC, which was really just for everybody's clarification, which was about RA zone, which, as I think anybody who knows the zoning laws, doesn't permit many development opportunities. There's one other person in the audience. I don't see anybody's hands up. Just to make sure we all know, you do *9 to put your hand up, *6 to mute and unmute, just in case we can repeat it. If you could please hop up and announce your name for the record, I really appreciate it. Okay, don't hop, walk.
Sure, I just have a very quick question, and it deals with definitions. Mr. Goodman mentioned the fact that that all they have is requests for proposals, RFPs, and I'm looking at this, and it says, Cushman, Wakefield, Hayes, and Cherry is pleased to offer this unique opportunity. That, to me, and I'm just a poor old English major, that doesn't say request for proposal, that says it's an offer. And I would just like to have some kind of clarification on that, if that's possible.
And just for the record, can you state your name?
Sorry, John Lehman.
Thank you, John.
Resident.
Yep. Okay, not seeing any hands up on Zoom. Oh, what? I'm now going to take that word back. And I apologize to anybody who I did repeat their full phone number. Please take that apology. I'm sorry. Somebody with the number 3717, ending in 3717, if you could please announce yourself, say your name, and let us know how we can help.
Hey, how are you? This is Pura Robson. I accidentally entered in the passcode as my...
Speak up when you speak into the phone so we can all hear in the room. Ooh, what happened? 3717, we lost you. Okay. 3717, can you call back in? I don't see you on the little screen here. We'd appreciate it if you could call back in, and if I did something wrong, I don't think so, but maybe cell service. Any other comments before I say something? Okay, so I will, waiting for 3717, I will speak personally about a couple of points. One, I really personally appreciate everybody's input. I think Keith captured it, and Mark even before, and Martha. And I appreciate that. I will say that I was one of the few people that has been at almost every RIAC meeting over the last while, actually with Henry at almost every meeting. And unfortunately, Kristen Vitt, who was the RIAC person, is no longer there. But going back to those meetings, there was discussion, to be very flat out, there was discussion about parking, but really that parking was about pay for parking next to the airport, for example, and potentially long-term parking that people could get a place for so they could put their truck there and then go to the airport. There wasn't ever really discussion, as far as I know, about what I'm going to call daily parking. And to be very, one of the things that I will ask the council to consider is that Block Island is a different place. And I know we've repeated that many times. We do have pay for beach parking. And it's been a long-term debate. Oh, we can make a lot of money, get the people. And that's just not our culture. That's something that we don't believe that is right for Block Island. The same thing sort of holds in my mind, and I'm not speaking for anybody, I'm speaking for myself here. The same thing holds for my mind. If I want to go in and get my medications, and I will challenge anybody in Providence or probably anybody outside of Block Island that they have probably not gone to an airport to get their medications. For me to have to go and sort of check in, to go to New England Airlines, to pay my $4 to get the office is there, whether that's a tourism council or Bethany's, or just to meet Andy and folks at flight level. So when we did discuss parking, it was always in my intent that it was really about long-term, because I think that's actually an opportunity for RIAC, and it's really an opportunity for people that use the airlines, use the airport, so that, you know, and it's got to be reserved parking in my mind. This is a personal thing. I don't want to get back into the state lot in Wakefield where you quote unquote think you have a spot and you miss the ferry. I think the town manager has done a really good job in communicating and listening, but I want to make sure that we keep history to facts and it's not revisionist, because I think at times, yes, there's been discussions about storage, but that was not about, you know, leasing lots of land that were outside of the bounds of the airport property. That was about potentially putting storage next to parking, as Henry may recall, and we actually walked that land. And again, that was trying to figure out how to balance the derelict vehicles for not. And the derelict vehicles are a problem as they are right now. And so we do need to talk about that. I'm with Martha. I really want to reaffirm, as stated by RIAC, about following the local zoning laws. That's very, very important to me. And the last point is something I think Keith Stover has mentioned a few times, and I think is very, very important to all of us, and that our airport is unique. It is a true lifeline. Not only does New England Airlines contribute a lot to the airport and FAA, but it is a lifeline, and ask anybody at the medical center how important that lifeline is. And more importantly, when some people want to go shopping in the winter or they want to go out, it is a different airport and it's a different situation. And I look forward to communicating that to RIAC. So those are my personal thoughts. I was hoping that, oh, good. 3717 is back. So I delayed long enough that they can participate. So 3717, you are now on.
Thank you so much. Sorry to try to make it. Can you hear me better this time?
We can hear you, and please talk loudly.
Okay, I'll talk loudly. So my name's Pura Robson. I am, yes, an abutter. But yet at the same time, as I've listened to the exchange, I just want to reemphasize those who have said that the special part of Block Island is not about development. It is about open space. It is about trees. At the top of Airport Hill, when you got to the top, you don't want to see more macadam. You don't want to see more development. You want to see beautiful. You want to see beautiful, beautiful spaces. And for that, I think we need to stop and remember why we all make an effort to get to Block Island. And yes, it takes an airport to get to Block Island sometimes, and it takes a ferry, but please, let's all remember as we consider these proposals at hand that development doesn't always result as a win. And we have a beautiful community, and let's not ruin it by tarmacked over something. Thank you for the time, and I appreciate everyone's efforts to pursue this as a community.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robson. I'm glad we were able to get that. Sorry about that before. Okay, any other comments from the public? On Zoom, I don't see any hands, so we will end the meeting in a few minutes. So please do, if you do want to talk, I want to make sure you have a chance. And anybody in public here, John, if you want to get back up and speak into the microphone, that'd be great. And please announce yourself just for the recording.
I'm still John Lehman, and I'm here, I guess, as an individual, but also as a member of Scenic Block Island.
I'm sorry, I would just ask the gentleman to speak up or be closer to the microphone.
Is that any better?
Much.
That's much better.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Anyway.
Can you announce yourself, John? Your name, please.
John Lehman. And I'm here as an individual and as a member of Scenic Block Island. And I have another question, more as a definition or as an observation. And I hate to keep picking on Mr. Goodman, but he mentioned that previous town councils had felt one way or the other. And my question is this: we're not in the previous time period. We're here. Things have changed on Block Island. Things have changed certainly with the town council one way or another. And I think it's irrelevant what has gone before, and what we need to do is focus on what's going on now for the future. And that's it.
Thank you very much. And I will say, I'm not going to speak for anybody, but that is sort of the point of what we're doing here. So I think this is actually the most public about the RIAC and the discussions. We will be issuing a letter or a document to RIAC. And I think that is what Mr. Goodman's point was, which is, hey, if, past things have been passed, what is today? And I think that's a very, very well stated. Last call for anybody at the table. Mark, you can go ahead, man.
No.
Martha or Keith?
I have enough information to proceed.
Great, thank you. Keith, good?
Good.
Martha, good?
Good.
Anybody in the public, in the audience? I still love being able to say that. And I don't see any other hands raised. So with that, I make a motion.
We will be addressing the letter from RIAC at a future meeting when we've had a chance to read it.
Absolutely. And I think that'll be incorporated in our response, right, Marion? Yeah, I mean, I think that's that's the 6 points that are part of that. So absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't speaking to my microphone. I'll repeat what I just said to Sten. We will question Mark at the end of this. We will be incorporating the letter. We will be addressing the letter and the questions that were received just before this meeting from RIAC. Most of them are addressed items we've been discussing, if not all.
All righty, with that, I make a motion to close the public hearing regarding RIAC.
Second.
Seconded by Keith. Any discussion? Martha, how do you vote to close public hearing?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Keith? And I vote in the affirmative as well. Unfortunately, Andre could not be here, so that's unanimous to close the public session. And I will say it is so nice having people in the audience, and I really appreciate it. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for participating by Zoom. We will continue to have Zoom and in person, I hope. And I think that's a great way to increase the reach of all of our dialogue. And I once again want to thank Representative Blake Filippi and Susan Sosnowski and the May 4th group for all their help with the utility district and everything that they did to get the net metering bill passed. What do we need to do?
Item 4.
Oh, okay. So then item 4, which is now on it. That's right. So we held a public hearing. Item 4 is discuss and act on town council resolution regarding the Block Island Airport, regional airports, and the Rhode Island Airport Corporation's request for proposal regarding Block Island Airport Corporation's request for proposals. Okay, regarding airport property development. So that is the next agenda item. Any questions or comments?
Just on how we're going to proceed, do we take this draft resolution that we've received and give it to our town solicitor to first of all, go through and make sure it addresses all of our issues, or do we dissect it right now?
I don't have it.
I think that's a discussion, right? So I'll give you my point of view. I think that we should actually read and absorb the letter and the questions from Rob. We should also feedback, including what we heard tonight. I would love to have a meeting next week or as soon as we can, Marianne, that's up to you, so that we can actually decide, do we rework that? Do we add paragraphs in? Do we take a paragraph? I'd rather not try and do that tonight. I'd rather spend some time on both what RIAC asked for and be very specific in that answer, what we've heard from the public. I think we've gotten more than a few letters. So let's just sort of balance it all out and just write down the list and then figure out what's the most important, of which this may do it, or that, excuse me, for those that can't see, for the draft resolution of July 7th that somebody sent, but there may be ads. So that would be my take, but as long as we do it in the next week, Marianne?
Your regular council meeting on the 21st, I'm not.
One meeting is going to be exhausting.
Yeah.
So I'd rather do it even the day or two before. Okay, I'll let you and Molly coordinate that. That's my point of view. So that's a council discussion.
I think we may want to do both. I mean, there's some time sensitivity here, so I agree with you. If we're going to put it off, I think we should do it on, Monday. But I do think it's worth reviewing the RIAC letter, but I also think it's worthwhile to do a resolution for our legislative delegation, because that's usually the form that takes, and it's formal. So if we could do it Monday, that'd be great.
Probably things we can tie together.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And Sven, I'm not afraid to tip my hand. I think RIAC's intentions
Really?
are incompatible with the intentions of the island, not with proceeding that way.
Alrighty, and I think everybody's got their good points. I think based on the skim of the letter I saw, there were some pretty straightforward questions, and they'll get straightforward answers. And I think this is a good way to go forward. And if we can do it on the 19th or as soon as possible, that'd be great. That will be a public meeting. There will be a proper announcement. There will be, unless the world changes again, there will be space in the room, and we'll be on Zoom for that. And hopefully Andre can be there. Keith, one last thing.
Just one other thing.
Speaker.
I'm glad that Martha's brought this up a few times. Look at the letter from RIAC, because I think it provides a path. So we're not punting here. It's just that came up whenever, half an hour before we started to convene for it. So I actually think it's worth a few days. And when you read the letter, I think you'll agree.
And Dora, if you can find that agreement, that would be great.
Yeah, I already sent a request.
Okay, thanks.
As long as it wasn't a request for a proposal. All righty, I make a motion to, what?
It could be from a
I know. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Mark. Martha, how do you vote?
Aye.
Keith?
Yes.
Mark?
Aye.
And I vote yes, and it's an hour to the minute.